This is not what Spurs fans wanted to hear. Shams Charania drops a bomb on Dylan Harper and a new injury report that indicates that he had to undergo surgery, but there is a couple of silver linings to this whole thing, and Dylan Harper, on the bright side, looks to be ready pretty soon in the grand scheme of things. We got to dive into the Shams Charania report, how it will affect Dylan Harper, but also how there's a silver lining in the situation. But I also wanted to dive into De'Aaron Fox, as there's a clip going around recently and also a very interesting article that highlights what I feel like a lot of fans are missing about it. We got to dive into all of this coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest, and I want to start with Fox, and this article is linked down below by Matt Guzman, and he says, which Spur not named Wembanyama will make the biggest impact? And I think any Spurs fan would naturally say probably De'Aaron Fox. I mean, maybe you could have Stephon Castle if you're projecting a big year 2 leap, but De'Aaron Fox just makes a ton of sense. And the negativity surrounding him has been pretty crazy, especially since he signed that max contract extension. But hey, it's done. It is what it is. But then you see this video floating around. An alley-oop windmill in slacks and, a collared t-shirt. It's an athletic t-shirt. But, regardless, that is absolutely insane. And I feel like after seeing this and just after knowing that his pinky is going to be fully good, hopefully, for the first time in years, I feel like, yes, he is absolutely primed to make the biggest impact. And this actually has an impact on the Harper news I'll share later as well. And I'll dive into that when the time comes. But just to highlight some of the article, I suggest you check it out in full, of course. But they said, look, with the Spurs, when they traded for Fox, the vision involved a dynamic duo between him and Wemby. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I envisioned. When we got him, it was like, oh my God, we have a star point guard to go next to Wemby. The silver lining took form in Harrison Barnes, who played next. That's not the silver lining I was talking about. I forgot that was a line used in the article. A lot of silver linings here today. Hey, what better for the black and silver? But, the basketball speaks for itself, Barnes said, praising Fox's high character. But it was Wemby himself who said he's just a constant threat. He can go by you in a second. And when you watch these clips, his pinky's going to be good for the first time in years. He has not been a great three-point shooter since his pinky really started bothering him, but before that, he was a pretty good three-point shooter. His explosiveness has always been there. He's one of the fastest players in the league, but also when you watch this, I don't know, I can watch this on repeat all day, every day. And I know it's just a simple dunk clip. And you could easily just go and say, oh, you're just watching a dunk clip to try and project what he'll do this season. And, I understand that. But at the same time, I feel like I can't help but be excited for De'Aaron Fox and the impact that he's going to have this season. And I think, when you look at Dylan Harper, not even I know, you look at Dylan Harper, you look at Stephon Castle, you look at the crowded backcourt, and you think, why is Fox blocking some of these other guys? He's going to get more touches, he's going to get all this. But I feel like I have to remind myself sometimes, this dude could legit come out this year and average 25 points a game because of how much the ball is in his hands, how much he creates on offense. His gravity alone is going to give other players a lot of chances. Wemby's gravity is going to give him chances. And I think seeing a full season of dynamic duo De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama is going to be absolutely something special. So just watch this one more time, bask in it, because I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this than some haters would anticipate. Maybe I'm just all sunshine and rainbows and hoping everything good for the Spurs, but I genuinely believe in what we have right now. I believe in De'Aaron Fox. I think we're going to be in for something good. And hey, if you agree or disagree, leave your thoughts down below. But Fox is going to need to shoulder a decent load because, look, when you have young guys like you do on the Spurs, you don't often get smooth transitions from year to year, from season to season. The sophomore slump is a real thing. Castle even went through some slumps this year. I mean, it's expected, especially a guy whose offensive game definitely shows a lot of promise. It is not extremely refined yet, and that's not a slight on a guy like Stephon Castle, but it's just the truth. I mean, his three-point shot absolutely could use some work, though he's been putting in the reps this summer. I'm sure you guys have been seeing him working on that shot. But, him getting to the rim is his greatest asset right now. His rim finishing, his ability to draw fouls, and even the fouls that refs haven't been calling for him yet, he's going to be so good. But naturally, you still have growing pains in the NBA. That's going to be a thing. The same thing with Dylan Harper, especially after this recent bit of news, as Shams dropped this earlier saying San Antonio Spurs number 2 pick Dylan Harper underwent surgery Friday to repair a partially torn ligament in his left thumb that he suffered in a workout Wednesday, and the hope is Harper will be ready for the season opener. So the hope is that he'll be ready for the season opener. And yeah, look, here's my thought, right? You have De'Aaron Fox. Don't rush Dylan Harper back. Like, that's my only thing right now. Don't rush him back. I know the Spurs are going to do everything they can to handle this injury as they should. I mean, the Spurs are always so good with that. Don't get me started on Kawhi Leonard. We're not about to talk about that today. But right now, like, that's all I can think of when I see this. You know, obviously it sucks to hear that he had surgery, but the silver lining here, there's two things. As I mentioned earlier. One, he should be ready for the season opener, which is incredibly good news. Obviously, Dylan Harper, we all know, is going to be in the race for Rookie of the Year. Whether he gets it over a guy like Cooper Flagg, who's going to get way more reps, I mean, who knows? But regardless, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to get a ton of minutes. But the other silver lining is, again, we have De'Aaron Fox. Like, if Dylan Harper is out for any stretch of time, or if he struggles, we have De'Aaron Fox. This guy is such a stabilizing force on this team. This was actually supposed to be a Dylan Harper video. It's sort of turning into a De'Aaron Fox video to some extent. But, like, this guy is such a stabilizing force for this team that if Castle's having an off night or whatever, or he gets hurt, same thing with Dylan Harper, you have an all-star guard, right? So, you know, I understand the whole depth argument, but like right now, especially this season in particular, I'm not talking 4 or 5 years from now. I know that Fox's contract runs until then, and I understand the concerns then. But this year, this is kind of why we have the depth that we do. But also, Harper, the other bad news to go along with the silver lining, I guess, that'll be good for the regular season, is that he will likely miss all of training camp per Don Harris. Pretty much the same quote: underwent successful surgery, sustained the injury on Wednesday. The team will provide updates as appropriate. And so, I just wanted to talk about missing training camp because historically in the NBA and in a lot of sports, you don't think about it, right? You don't think it really makes a huge impact. Like an injury at this point of the year, you'll be ready to go for the start of the season. That's always what you hear. Start of the season, good to go. It doesn't matter. But like there have been some people do analysis. I don't have the numbers on hand, so believe me, maybe don't believe me, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. Like when players miss training camp, you miss out on getting into that rhythm, right? Like jumping straight from, like obviously he's not going to jump straight from sitting on his couch to, all right, I'm in a game now, I'm cleared because my 2-week timeline's, no, it's not how it works, obviously, but like he's going to ramp his way up. But to not be able to participate in training camp with your teammates, not participate in your offensive sets and defensive sets as an active player as much as you would want to, maybe not being able to do these full speed drills with your teammates, getting used to them, especially as a rookie, that is hard. It's going to likely, maybe not all the time. I actually really think Dylan Harper is the kind of player that will just feel the game so well once he's in there that like when you watch him, he just has that feel, right? So I feel like it's less critical for him than maybe some other players that this could happen to. But regardless, like not having a training camp does affect your performance. And I'm anxious to see how he reacts to that coming into the NBA as a rookie. Now his the way he plays is very mature again. So like I'm not necessarily super concerned. But to see how he adjusts without training camp is going to be very interesting to me. And again, without a doubt, De'Aaron Fox is going to be shouldering a lot of these minutes, especially early season, him and Stephon Castle. And Dylan Harper is going to get the minutes when he can. Maybe he'll be playing full minutes right out the gate. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised either. But it's just good to have this backup system here. But, you know, having Harper miss some time now before training camp is definitely not an ideal scenario. It could have been a lot worse. I'm just glad we have a fail-safe in place. But let me know your thoughts on Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox and how this dynamic, I think, works really well to start this season and how you see this playing out over the course of the whole year. I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are, but that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in every single day, all off season long. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.